will be a good one.
It'll be a good one.
Definitely a different type of process.
Touchdown or freeze up.
Hey, welcome back to Baseball 101. It's my birthday today. By the time you're seeing this, my birthday is over. But I'm in a great mood. And not only because it's my birthday and I get to go out to eat with my family later, because I get to talk to another great coach that I'm very curious to hear some of his thoughts on what he's been doing in the program, although he's only been in the program for a year. But Coach Josenberger from Staley is with us today, talk about what he's doing, and had an unbelievable first year as a coach. Congratulations. Runner-up in the state. School record, 38 wins. I mean, you're setting the bar pretty high for you, though.
Yeah, happy birthday, first of all, Coach. Yeah, it was an awesome season. If you're going to do it, you got to try to do it right.
Well, yeah, but sometimes you do it so well, then the next year you win 36 games, people are going to be disappointed. I mean.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the way it goes. But, for taking over from a legend and a Hall of Famer like Coach Wilson, the bar was already high. So we just got to try to step in there and continue to grow the program.
Yeah, I mean, there was no doubt. I think, and there's a lot of great coaches that retired. We talked to Coach Goff. I talked to him earlier this year, and at Sumo West, Coach Tout, Rockbridge, Coach Wilson. Like, there's a lot of Hall of Fame coaches that are kind of stepping away, and it's always an interesting transition to, okay, is this next guy going to be able to sustain, to move it forward, is it there going to be a fall off? So that's a big shoes to walk into, because Coach Wilson did a great job. His son actually played with my son on the Royal Scout team for a couple years, so got to watch his son and watch him. So did you feel that pressure kind of walking in that situation?
No, I really didn't. I actually knew several of the players through the club ball scene that I've been involved in for several years. And so I really wasn't. I was just excited about the opportunity and the players that we had in the program, and just go out there and try to do the best that we can to accomplish our ultimate goal, win a state championship, and we got really close.
So you had been out of high school baseball a while. I was talking to Coach Sipes at Platte County that was kind of in that same situation, was out doing club stuff. What made you want to come back and get involved with high school, especially like what specifically about Staley kind of drew you to that position?
Staley, I think it's one of the top 10, top 5 jobs in the state. The resources, the proximity to my house, it's 15 minutes from where I live. I knew the culture of the program that Coach Wilson had established. I knew him previously as well because his oldest son played on the scout team with my son. So I've known Coach Wilson for several years, and I've always been intrigued about getting it back into high school baseball, but the timing wasn't right with my son. I spent the last, several years following him in high school and then throughout his college career. So the timing was right for me to see if I could jump back into the high school baseball scene.
Yeah, Staley, as far as the talent, the resource, I mean, it's definitely one of the top programs in the state as far as opportunity. And Coach Wilson did a great job. They took him to a state Final Four in 2015 was the last time. So
19.
I missed a year. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to see all the numbers run together. That's why we have the experts like you on here. But Coach Wilson did a great job. Then you come in this first year. What were some of the first things you were trying to do to get the program to put your stamp on an already successful program?
Well, I think the first thing I did is the retention of the staff. It was really important for me to bring back the guys that already had been in the program and understood the culture and had relationships with the families. So that was my number one job, is to try to bring back all the staff instead of coming and making a bunch of changes. And then the next part of it was just building relationships with my players and building that level of trust and getting them to know me. And that's really how I approached it.
So with you're not in the building, you're not teaching. So I'm sure. Do you have to be more intentional, like the time that you have with them? Do you set time aside to talk to each kid so they actually get to know a little bit more? Like I'm in a classroom, so the kids I am teaching, it just kind of carries over to the field. I have more time with them. Did do you have to be more intentional with the time that you have?
Yes, I think you do. I spend a lot of time at the school, even though I'm not teaching, which gives me the flexibility to be able to move around the building and go to be able to meet people. And last year, I did a bunch of subbing the first semester to get to know not only the players but more of the faculty and
Yeah.
the culture of the school itself to show my face. And so I was just at the school today. I pop in there, several times a week, go to the cafeteria, lunchroom, classes, hang out. So yeah, you definitely have to be intentional about those relationships. But at the end of the day, once you get to meet players and people and it's authentic, I think that just comes naturally to help build those relationships.
Yeah, it does. Kids pick up on pretty quick. If you want to get to know them, they'll open up pretty quick. It's it's just the coach having to be a little bit more vulnerable, which is a newer philosophy. Old school coaching was coaches coach, and there is no relationship. Where I feel like a lot of the coaches I've talked to in the last month on here has been they want to be vulnerable, they want to be authentic, and they want to know their kids not just on the field but off the field, which means a coach has to kind of reciprocate that to a degree. So for you to be in the building and having those that time with them definitely gives you a little bit of an advantage. But um, this first year taking over this program, are there certain like pillars that you want to establish moving forward? Obviously, you were successful this year, but what were you really trying to instill as a mindset within your program?
Our core beliefs are really about being great teammates, being good people, just like everybody else has been on here. I think that's super, super important. We established our motto for our program, which is LPM. So if you see on the back of our shirts, you'll see LPM, which is lunch pail mentality. And it means show up, work hard, do your job. And so that was what we preached from the first day of our workouts, and we got to know the players. And there were some consequences for some players early that didn't know what that meant and stood for. And every kid in our program to this day should be able to rattle off what that means. And we've got signs in our dugouts with that on there, and that's really the foundation of what our program's been built on.
So I was reading somewhere, and I don't remember what article it was in, but you have certain standards in the classroom and behavior. Like if they don't meet those standards, are there? I'm assuming consequences within the program.
Yeah, so we have several different goals. We have a GPA goal of trying to reach a 3.5 as a team overall that we do. And it's not necessarily a punishment, it's just something that we talk about and reinforce all the time and what our expectations are. Um, I just think having more conversation about those things and bringing it to the forefront and prioritizing it really makes it important for our players. We also do a lot of community service. I don't have the number of hours because I want people to be able to do that without it feeling like a job or a penalty. I want them to invest in that, and I believe if you invest in other people, right? It minimizes the issues and the problems that that we all go through, and that's something that foundation that we put in place with those types of things. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily punishment based. We just have a standard of high expectations as people, and trying to invest in our community and other people because someone always has it worse than what we do, right? So I think exposing our players to see them beyond their current circumstance, good or bad,
Yeah.
um, is important.
Do you guys do anything as a team, community service, or is it just individual?
Yes. No, we do it as a team. We have several different projects that we go to. We have a mom that coordinates that on a monthly basis for our players, and then it's several different, either whether it's harvesters or new house shelter volunteering or packing lunches or dropping off going to food pantries or a hospital preparing meals for kids at Children's Mercy or whatever it may be. It's pretty much it's definitely a team and community based project for sure.
Yeah, I think that connection point away from the field. And we're going to talk about it on a future show about identity. And I see a lot of kids that are really struggling with their identity so attached to sports and performance that they forget that there's life outside of it. And then when sports end, they really struggle to understand that they're more than just a baseball player. They're more than an athlete. There should be someone that's serving others and realize there's life outside of sports. And I just see kids struggling with that so much because the moment they stop playing, all of a sudden they're like, well, who am I? Well, you're the same person that can contribute to this person and serve this person. And you have so much more you can offer than just on the field.
Yeah, I 100% agree. We talk about that actually often, really often in our program about, you know, my goal is to try to win a state championship, but that's not my purpose.
Yeah.
Right. And so separating your goals from your purpose is important. You know, everybody here is trying to get to the next level, win baseball games, but ultimately that's not what our purpose is.
No. And I wish more coaches would understand that, especially youth coaches. Like the purpose is not to win the 10U tournament. I mean, it's great to win, but that's not why. It's not what should be driving your decisions. So you said you came from a little bit of the club background, or you've been involved with club stuff. Did you try to instill that in the coaches you work with within the clubs?
You know, club's a lot different, you know, because of the financial aspects of it. But anywhere I go or whatever I do, I try to take out the entitlement that comes with the financial aspects of club ball and really get to the core foundation of why we all do this, right? One, we love the game of baseball, teaches a lot of life lessons, to be able to grow the game, you know, and ultimately my goal is to try to help players maximize their ability to the best of their ability. And that's really what I try to instill wherever I go or whatever I do. Um, and, you know, club ball has its pluses and minuses, just like high school ball does
Yeah.
from a perspective. But just trying to take away the financial, like I said, I feel like people, when they spend money, they have entitlement to it. And so trying to break down those barriers is really important. So trying to help coaches be better, um, build relationships, and not just the part of it. The reality of it is youth baseball wouldn't exist without dad coaches, right? And I
Exactly.
tell people that all, right? So we have to give them some grace and accountability because there's not a lot of people beating down the doors to spend this much time with other people's kids and missing out on their family time. So we have to be able to give them grace and support in that manner. And that's really what we're trying to do in the club baseball scene.
Well, I 100% agree. Like, these guys are not ill-intended. They need support. They need someone to teach them. I mean, a lot of these guys are just volunteering. They love the game, but the bigger picture from guys that played in college or played professionally, to be able to teach them, hey, you know what? Your job at 8U is to make sure they have fun and make sure they know how to steal second base. Like, just enjoy the game. And if they enjoy the game, they'll keep playing it and they'll develop as they go. And you can instill some of that stuff. But trying to get youth coaches to understand this isn't about wins and losses, it's about development. It's such a battle, but I think it's more on the clubs not educating those dad coaches the way they should be educated. So who knows? I get a little frustrated with,
Yeah.
you can't hold people accountable for things they haven't been taught.
That's 100% true. That is 100% true. And just because people play doesn't mean they're a good coach, right? You have to
No.
genuinely want to, yeah, right. Not I fight that. Well, this guy played professionally. That doesn't mean he's a good teacher of the game or able to build relationships with players either, right? So if I have somebody who's lacking in baseball knowledge but they care about kids, I'm going to take that person all day long and do the best they can to help them provide a quality opportunity for the players. As a matter of fact, I'm working with this another group of independent club that I'm going in and working with their coaches and helping them run some practices. And I've contracted to do that. And I love doing that, right? So this is just another part of giving back and growing the game. And if we can help impact these coaches, they're going to impact the players.
Yeah, it's getting mad at a coach because they don't have they haven't been supported properly, it's not fair to the coach. It's not fair to the players. And I know there are some clubs that really invest a lot of time into that development, and I hope they do. Unfortunately, I don't see that at the high school level. Really, a high school coach gets a job, and it's just like, hey, go. There's an assumption of you know how to handle parent communications and all the other responsibilities that go along with being a head coach these days. It, the responsibilities of a head coach in high school right now is crazy with all the things that are
Yeah,
expected. I, you're a brave
yeah.
soul to sign up for that job.
People have no idea of, from dealing with agents or advisors to scouts and all the other things, and then fundraising, uniforms, mission requirements, school requirements. There's a lot that goes into it, but I love that process of it, and being organized and being able to take care of that. And at the end of the day, I tell my parents in fundraising meetings, I want to turn this guys over to you because I want to handle everything between the fence as much as possible, and you guys handle everything outside the fence.
That's I love coaching the game, but there's a reason I never pursued being a head coach. It was all the stuff, and I mean, I was with Tony Perkins for 25 years. The stuff that I saw him deal with, I'm like, hey, you go deal with that. I'll be over here teaching outfield or bunting or hitting. You have fun dealing with that parent over there. Good luck.
Yeah, but actually, coming from running a club and the number of teams and parents we deal with, high school ball is pretty easy.
Yeah, I can see that. You only got what,
Yeah,
3 teams to deal with?
we have four, but still, there's a lot shorter time period that you're dealing with athletes and the parents, right? The money part of it, parents aren't investing thousands of dollars into it, and so running a club for several years really kind of prepared me for high school. That it is a lot, but it's not overwhelming at this point.
It's definitely different responsibilities. So when you take the money aspect out, I still think high school, from that standpoint, is the most unbiased assessment you're going to get from a coach. I mean, it's just one coach or one staff, but I've seen the struggle where when you're paying a club, a lot of times, depending on the club, and obviously everything's different, they'll tell you what you want to hear because you just gave them a check for $5,000, and then they come to high school, and the high school coach is like, "Hey, we don't see you at this position. We actually see you here." That pushback on the high school side, did you get any of that this year? Because obviously, Coach Wilson saw a player a certain way. The clubs have told him certain things, and then your fresh eyes coming in. Did you have any sort of pushback when you gave them your honest opinion?
Not a lot. I kind of established early with our players the expectations that we have for our program is that the best players are going to play, regardless if you're a freshman or a senior. And our goal is to put the best product out on the field. If our goal is to win state championship, then every decision that I make has to support that decision, right? And so we set that standard really, really high. And man, this last year was awesome. I never had one complaint about playing time. I never had one um, parent complaint about playing time, and we had 17 seniors last year, but we also started two freshmen and a sophomore um, a majority of the year, and some of the seniors didn't play. And those seniors, man, they were bought into it, and all of our players bought into it. It was a awesome experience. Just for an example, on senior night, we played Liberty North, and it was a big game because we do value winning conference. I mean, we've got the
Yeah.
toughest conference in the state, so I think that means something. A lot of people don't value it, but we do value that. And we were in a position where we were tied at the time, and we needed to win against Liberty North. And I went to my seniors before the game, and I said, "Hey, I know this is a big day for you guys and your families, and I want to value that and respect that." I go, but we really need to win this game. I go, how important is it to you guys that you get one at bat or whatever? And before I even got through with that speech, one of my reserves says, "We want to win, coach." And then I got a resounding, "We want to win, coach." And so we played the baseball game like we normally would. It worked out perfectly that we were able to get all our seniors in. But that's the kind of coach, that's the kind of players that we have in our program that were just selfless. And I think we'll continue to build on that moving forward.
So you had 17 seniors leave. So, how many returning starters do you have coming back?
I think we have 4 or 5 returning starters coming
So
back.
you still, I mean, you
But
still have a
the
core
thing,
team.
yeah, we still have a good core of the team. But the thing about it is, of course, we had some really elite pitching. I think we had probably one of the deepest pitching in the state, if not the best pitching in the state. We lost 3 D1 arms, but
Yeah,
one of the things that most of our position players last year were all JV players. Our starting shortstop was a JV player. Our third baseman was a JV player. Our first baseman was a freshman. Our left fielder was a JV player. Our right fielder was a JV player. Our second baseman was a JV player. So we did all that with guys that weren't even returning varsity starters. I think we only had 4 varsity returning starters from last year's team.
yeah. I don't know about the depth of your pitching because I only got to see one pitcher.
Yeah, that's all we needed you to see. That's all we wanted you guys to be able to see was Brody Earlback.
Was that the best game he threw out? He was I mean,
No,
that night
that,
he was unbelievable.
that was not the best game he's thrown. He threw like that all
Jeez.
year long. Honestly, he probably his pitch count got a little more elevated and hit more people in that game. Last year, he only walked 6 total batters and gave up 3 earned runs all year. So he was definitely pumped up, and he was a dude, man. He's broke a majority of our pitching records
Yeah.
all time in career.
I mean, I thought at West, I thought that we barreled the ball pretty well against him, and he was very, very good. He did get drafted, correct?
He did not. He did
He
not. He's
didn't,
at the University of Iowa. He's at the University of Iowa right now.
because I mean, after that game, I'm like, he could go. He will pitch professionally at some point. I mean, that kid's special.
100%.
I
Yeah,
mean,
100%. And I think he just wanted to go to college and experience it. He went to the University of Iowa. His family went to Iowa. It's been ingrained. He's been wanting to do that his whole life. He wants to go enjoy the college scene and do that. But for him, we'll see him in about 3 years. And as everybody goes, oh, I think how could he turn that down? Well, I want to see what he looks like in 3 years.
and I,
So
and I think we've talked about it. There's no one path that's right for everyone. I mean, we got
no,
was it in 2024? Cole Gibbler was to me the best arm in the state. I mean, he was ridiculous, and I mean, he reminded me of Urbeck in a lot of ways. And he's at Arkansas now, and if he keeps going the way he's going, he'll be a first round guy. But out of high school, he really wanted to go to Arkansas, and he could have signed for. If he would have dropped his number down, he would have been drafted and signed. But it just isn't the right path for everyone. I mean, your son went to college and then signed out of Arkansas.
correct. Yes. Yeah.
So,
My son was a COVID year. He was 2020, so he missed his
uh,
last year of high school ball, and then he went to University of Kansas for 2 years, and then he finished at Arkansas and got drafted in 2023.
and that whole process is a whole nother. I'm assuming there are a lot of scouts around with when he was throwing Urbeck throwing this year.
Yeah, tons of scouts. I mean, pretty much every game. Not just him. We had another kid named Kyle Piercy that ended up at Oklahoma State, so he was getting a lot of draft buzz also. So we had pretty much I don't pretty much anytime those two pitched, we had scouts there.
Which and that I mean that changes the dynamics. I mean you see it's all the kids are aware they're scouts at the game, and when you have a team that supports those guys and there's no jealousy and they just are happy for them, just that culture within a program is so special to have. And I mean I saw your team at the Final Four. That was a group that really supported each other. They battled together and they clearly were in it together. And I mean, overall, I was just impressed with just their demeanor on the field was special. And I wish it wouldn't have been so special. But
Yeah, there's a great group of guys. We got a great group of guys this year too. They're all really close. We I feel like we have a really good relationship with all our players. I've been texting all our guys this fall about how they're doing with their college stuff, and part of my job is to try to get these guys that are moving on prepared for the college scene of it. So, me having a son that's just gone through this process, I think it benefits me to have some understanding of what it takes for those guys. And I just got a text from a dad today actually saying, "Hey, our son just feels like he was so much more prepared going into college than some of the other freshmen that were there." and that makes you feel good about doing the right things and trying to get kids,
Yeah.
prepared to be able to compete when they get on campus.
So what are some of the things that you're trying to get them to understand before they step on that college campus just to expect?
Well, one thing we do differently is here and starting in the next few weeks in November, we do 6 a.m. workouts twice a week, speed and conditioning at 6 a.m. And not a lot of people do that, right? And so that's
Yeah.
one of the things you're going to have to figure out how to do in college is get up early in the morning, get your workout in, and still go to class, build function, and do that. So I think that's one thing that we do that's a little bit different than some other programs may do. But I think our guys, and we push them pretty hard. I mean, we have guys puking pretty much every session, and it goes for about an hour. But I think going through things like that are really hard, and we told our guys like this is going to be hard. And remember, when it gets in the spring and you got a really tough game, that's not going to be anything compared to what you guys are doing right now. So we can go out and enjoy it in the spring. And I
So
believe that set the tone for our program.
yeah, and obviously college, you got morning workouts, you got all that. So just them understanding how to manage their time and how to get through those tough parts, because you get to college is definitely there's a lot more expected of you, especially if you walk on D1 campus. And obviously D1 campus compared to JUCO is very different, but they all are going to expect you to work hard. If you're not going to work,
Oh,
you got no shot.
yeah. Yeah, it's 100%. We had a kid last year that he didn't get to as many workouts as he needed to, and he started the year on JV. And we had that conversation with him, like, hey, you could have been competing for a starting spot here, but there was guys that showed up every week, and you didn't. And so now you're playing behind, so you've got to go back and be able to figure that out and try to compete from it. And he did a great job. He understood when we had that conversation. He knew, right? And so when my experience is players usually always have an idea of where they stand with the team and where they fit in. It's the parents that kind of mess up that dynamic.
I've never seen that before, but I guess that's just a state.
Yeah, you guys don't have that problem on St. Louis, I guess.
Oh no, no, the parents here, no issues at all. So now I will say
And we have
most
a
of
great,
them,
we have yeah.
yeah, most of them are great, but every once in a while, typically the issue isn't with the kid. The kid knows where they stand. It's the parent doesn't see the same thing. And normally after a conversation, it gets cleared up, but it's definitely, and I get it. I mean, I had my son played and I saw certain things that other coaches, it's just inherent to being a parent. You want the best for your kid, but
Yeah,
some,
I tell parents that all the time. I want the best for them too, but the reality is I got to worry about 20 more, 19 more of them. You only have to worry about one. So that looks a lot differently from my perspective than it does for you. Trust me, I want the best for it because it's a lot easier for me to manage a game or a team when when your kid's playing well. It's hard when they're struggling, right? And so um, we invite our parents to come to practice. They can watch. It's open anytime. They can't say anything, but they can come and watch as much as they want to. We don't hide what we do at practice. We're open to them to be able to do that. And one of the other things that I believe is I will never meet with a parent about playing time without their kid there.
yeah, that's
Because
fair.
yeah, yeah. It's
Normally,
usually going to get cleared up pretty quickly. I will never meet with a parent about playing time or any of those issues without their kid there. I just won't. It makes no sense to do that.
no, I think it's good for the kid that, to me, having difficult conversations is probably the most important skill when you're talking about having relationships, whether it's marriage or being a parent. You have to learn how to have a tough conversation. And I think this generation, because of technology, a lot of times it's just gone through their phones or through text or other things. And to sit down face to face and have some of those tough talks, it's a life skill they need to develop.
Yeah, we have those pretty much every day at practice. I just had a conversation with one of our seniors who's fighting for a second base spot, and just the other day I go, "Hey, this junior's coming. If you want to play, you got to beat him out. You're gonna have to be able to hit better than him." I mean, I love this kid. He works. He does everything that you want from a kid, but at the end of the day, he knows he's got to go out there and earn it. And I had the same conversation with the junior.
Yeah.
But we have those on a regular basis every single day. I talk to my players a lot, And I always tell parents, you should never have to talk to me really, um, if you are communicating with your players, because I communicate with them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty transparent. We have a lot of fun. We laugh, we joke, we have nicknames and do all the other stuff. But I'm pretty transparent and open with our players, and I think that helps alleviate some of the problems down the road.
Oh, there's no surprises. I mean, you're having a talk in October about, hey, this kid's looking pretty good. You're going to have to work harder. And as you have those conversations, you get to the spring. It's like we've talked about it. And yeah, he's there. It's not a surprise. If you don't say anything until spring, all of a sudden the kid's like, I thought this was my spot.
Yeah, yeah, that's and also the other day we had open field workout, and at the end of it, I was talking to our junior class specifically because we have a large junior class this year, about 25 or 26 kids, and told them, hey, you guys, we're not keeping all you guys. There's no way we can do it, and so we're gonna have to let go of 10 to 12 of the juniors in this class, and some of them are really good players,
Yeah.
but there's no way we can roll into senior year with that many kids. And so I was like, you guys better spread the word to the guys that aren't here or that aren't planning on showing up in November that this is where the program's at, and this is where we're going to be. And so, I mean, I have those tough conversations frequently enough so that there's always a few surprises, I think, to some kids, but for the most part, we try to eliminate that as if we can.
So going back, we were talking about preparing for college, and you talked about the physical side of preparing them, getting up early morning workouts, and the physical side. I think we both know, and from playing and then having our kids go through it, the mental side of the game, going from high school to college or high school to professional level, is a huge obstacle. Like, do you do things within practice or year round to kind of try to prepare them for that?
Yeah, I think we try to prepare the mental part as much as possible, talking about managing failure. And one of the things that we really do is talk to our players about being able to impact the game in multiple ways. And it may not necessarily be just hitting or fielding or pitching or whatever. It may be picking up another player or doing those types of things. And so baseball is hard. I tell them it's the hardest thing in the world to do. Right now, golf is probably a lot harder to me than baseball ever was, but it's traditionally the hardest thing for us to be able to do. So managing the failure and being able to move on. So we do some mental stuff. Um, and really like the 6 in the morning, that's where we really get the team bonding and see who wants it, and guys cheering for each other and pushing themselves beyond what they think they're capable of doing. And even kids that didn't make the team last year grew from that experience, and I'm hopeful that it'll continue to do that as well. But um, the mental part is where a lot of people shy away from, and I think that's just we have to continuously talk about that and prepare about it and be vulnerable in those different types of have different types of conversations because kids are experiencing way more things than you and I did. The thing
Oh yeah.
about it is they have access to each other 24/7, so it never stops, right? So us as coaches have to keep that in mind, um, and we have to be able to address those things when it comes to social media and all those other things. Just ignoring it is just going to magnify the problem, in my opinion. So we have to address it. And so we talk to our kids about managing social media and the choices and the people that they hang around with and the decisions that they make. And of course, they're 16-year-old kids. They're not going to be perfect. None of us are. But I think having a level of understanding and respect for each other goes a long way.
There's no doubt the world they grew up in is very different than when we played. I mean, you saw a newspaper clipping of someone else. That was about the only time. These kids are growing up in really a comparison culture where whether it's being ranked at 13, 14 years old and all the rankings that are in front of them all the time. And I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just there's an awareness of someone else thinks that kid's better than me. This kid's got scholarship offers that they're posting on. There's just this constant reminder of like, is these kids better than me or that kid? At the end of the day, trying to get a kid to understand you can only control what you can control. You put in your work, you do what you need to do, and let the process just play out. It's just, it's hard. And I get at 15, 16, you're seeing other kids get more attention, and you're like, when am I going to get that? I'm glad I don't play in today's game because it's just there's a lot more to manage than there was 30 years ago when we were playing.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree. Like I said, the access that they have to each other never stops. If you and I were living in the same neighborhood and we had a disagreement, we had a fight, we wouldn't see each other till the next Monday at school and everything would be over. But these guys, with the social media aspect and the phones and the smartphones, they have access to each other all the time. So you definitely have to manage that dynamic a lot differently these days.
Absolutely. So we played Zuma West played Staley Final Four. You talk about Urbeck hit a couple of the players. I mean, he's throwing 90. I don't even know what it was, low 90s, 91, 92 that game. I mean, he threw unbelievable, but he hit one of our players later in the game. So after the game, I don't know you, never met you. We're walking through the line, and one of the kids in front of me that got hit, you stopped and literally said, "Hey, can I pray for you?" And if you watched last week, I mean, I worked in ministry, and to me, I was so excited. I was like, "This is awesome to see another coach." In 25 years, I've never seen another coach be like, "Hey, can I pray for your kid on the other team?" And I'm going, "I love you." I almost gave you a hug, but at the moment, I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" And I just kind of looked around, but like, obviously, your faith is important to you. Like in that moment, do you typically do that, or was that just kind of in that moment you just felt like that was the right thing to do?
I try to let we talk the subtle nudges of the Holy Spirit guide me to be able to do. And in that moment, it said, "Hey, pray for him." And so my job is to try to be obedient in that. And so we talk about those different things in our program. And if I want kids to be able to buy into that, I need to be able to show that leadership and servant leadership. And I felt like it was just the right thing to be able to do. And even though I didn't get to pray with him on the field, I did go back over and did a prayer for him um, afterwards. So um, to me, it wasn't a big deal. It's just what I
Wow.
was supposed to do and asked to do, and I tried to be obedient in that moment. And so
Well, obedience doesn't sound like a big deal, but I mean, it's the basis of everything. If we're not obedient to the Holy Spirit, then to me, we're not living the life that we're called to live. And for you to be obedient, even in a setting that most people are not going to feel comfortable being like, "Hey, I want to pray at the Final Four for another kid that just got hurt on team we beat." It takes courage to stand up and to be obedient. And even though it doesn't, I mean, it meant a lot to me. I mean, I've never talked to you until today. So since that time, I told Brian French many times. I told him the story. I'm like, that guy's different because he's willing to be obedient to the things that he knows he should do. And that alone, I have so much respect for you because there are very few people that are willing to do the right thing, even though it is the right thing to do. So I appreciate you doing that. And I'm so thankful there's guys like you out there coaching that have a similar mindset when it comes to this is who I am. And whether I'm at a public school, private school, or wherever, I'm going to be me. And thank God for you. I appreciate you.
well, thank you for saying that. I meant, being obedient definitely is a big thing. I meant like praying for someone else because
Yeah.
there's been multiple opportunities in our own program last year that we had to pray for each other. And I had kids text me and say, "Hey, can we pray today at practice? Because I'm dealing with this, or my family member had this." And that's awesome when that happens. And so with me wanting to pray for another player, it was just another opportunity because we've done that. We had another kid on in our team whose nephew is fighting cancer, and so we pray for him often together. So for me to go ask to pray for another player is just something that we do for each other here, right?
Uh,
So
yeah. And that's what it goes back to this is a game. It's not life. And after that game's over, we compete. You guys won. Congratulations. But now it gets back to who you are as a person is more than just a baseball coach. You're another person is trying to pray for someone that's hurting. That's awesome. I'm glad you're teaching that within your program, and I hope your players really appreciate. I hope your parents appreciate that you're willing to do that with your kids because it's become a rarity where people want to shy away from in especially public school settings, they want to shy away from expressing their faith, which I think for many years, for 15 years, I led FCA and kids are at my house and we're praying together, and I got to know them on a spiritual level, not just as a student. And to me, those relationships mean much more to me than anything I will ever get out of baseball coaching. So again, thank you for doing that. It meant, I don't know if you even knew that it meant that much to me, but coming from someone that's been in ministry, and that's been my passion for 30 years of being around kids, is to show them the gospel. To see another coach doing it was awesome.
Well, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the feedback, and we try to impact the kingdom, and that's what my ultimate goal is to be able to do. And I talk about my faith often with our players and the things that I've struggled with, or I don't get like super personal, but they need to know. I'm vulnerable to a point with our players, and I think that helps break down the barriers, and for kids to come in and say, "Hey, coach, I'm struggling with this. Can we bring this to the team?" And that was way bigger than anything else we've ever accomplished, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
and not one of our kids shied away from that. That's more important. They were like, "Yeah, let's do it," right? And so,
yes, and I'm glad. I'm thankful, and I hope that continues within your program. I'm sure as long as you're there, that's going to be the norm. So, I will be a Staley fan for a long time, just based on that interaction for 2 seconds of you being obedient to the Spirit in that moment. I will be cheering for you from St. Louis all the time.
I appreciate it. We need some love on that St. Louis side. I don't think they like us too much over there. I tease Brian French all the time. They get that St. Louis love over there. We need to get some of that St. Louis love on the Kansas City side.
Okay, well, lose some more, and we'll love you some more. Seems pretty easy. When you win all the time, people don't like you much. So, I mean, there's not many people that feel Francis Howell's never been one that people are like, man, I love Francis Howell. There's been a lot of, I'm not a huge fan, but that's okay. You embrace it. There's no doubt your side of the state, from a baseball standpoint, your conference is loaded. It is year in, year out. We need to get some GAC, like KC Suburban tournament in the middle of the state once a year, like I-70 Showdown. Bring that back. That would be interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, let's get that done. Yeah.
Well, I'm not coaching anymore. I'm unbiased. You know what? I'll get that set up. I'll make some calls for you. No problem.
Yeah. Well, we don't have the schedule to do it this year, but hopefully move forward. Something like that.
We have to get something in the future down the road, because it'd be nice to stack up the top 6 to 8 teams on both sides and just go at it in the middle of the season and have some fun with it. But I appreciate you taking the time to talk, Coach. It was great meeting you, and hopefully I'll get to talk to you again soon.
You as well, Coach. I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate everything you're doing for the Kingdom and baseball. So I look forward to talking to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, Coach. So you guys watching, hopefully, I learned a lot. Hopefully you've been encouraged by what's going on at Staley Baseball. They came up a little short last year. Next year, hopefully you get over the hump, you get that state championship. But if you like what's going on, you like what we're doing, hit that subscribe thing. That's a big deal. I still don't know why, but it is. Just push it, like it, share this with those that you think benefit, or those that maybe you don't think will benefit. I don't care. Share with a lot of people. Have some fun with it. Just keep pushing buttons. Accept the dislike. That thumbs down thing, no bueno. That's no good. Anyway, so look forward to talking again soon, and hope you have a great day.